When it comes to your health, are you seeing the check engine light come on more than normal? It's time to get under the hood. It's time for Ask the Doctor with Dr. Michael Lange. Sponsored by Lange Eye Institute and Fortifeye Vitamins. Dr. Lange is a board-certified optometric physician, helping people see and feel better through proper nutrition for 25 years. The doctor is in. Call now with your questions at 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. Here's your host, Dr. Michael Lange.
Okay, good morning and welcome to Ask the Doctor, or I should say Ask the Doctors. Dr. Michael Lange and Dr. Susan Summerton here each and every Saturday morning live to answer any and all questions you may have regarding your vision, eye care, and a nutritionally related topic. Please don't hesitate picking up the phones and give us a call. I've been doing this since April of 1993. A few years on, just a few years. Time flies when you're having fun. Anyway, we're coast to coast, live video streaming all over the world, coast to coast via a network of radio stations. So it's good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, just depending on where you're watching or where you're listening. And it is Ask the Doctors this morning because myself, Dr. Michael Lange, and Dr. Susan Summerton, we're both certified nutrition specialists. We're both board certified optometric physicians. Dr. Summerton, I'll brag about her a little bit. She's taken it to the next level. She just can't take a few initials after her name. She's also a diplomat in the American Board of Nutrition. She's a fellow in the Ocular Wellness and Nutrition Society. She's a staff doctor at the Lange Eye Institute. She's board member for Fortifeye Vitamins. She's the president of the local optometric society. She's a national lecturer. She's a talk show co-host. Geez, you're hogging the whole stage, Dr. Summerton. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Dr. Lange. I'm happy to be here today. It's a beautiful day. I'm calling in from the villages and just excited that we can share our knowledge and answer questions for the callers today.
Yeah, we got a great show ahead of us. So this is Easter weekend. I want to wish everybody a happy and a healthy Easter. What a great holiday season. It's a beautiful day here in Tampa Bay. The sun is shining. You know, we're going to all go out and get some exercise in the sun after the show. I think maybe I will show up at 1 o'clock at the Nutrition Center. So for those of you out there that want to pick my brain about nutrition and wellness, the Fortifeye Nutrition Center in Clearwater, 1 o'clock, 1 to 3, I will be there. So that's right there on, what's the name of that place? It's next to Publix. I want to say Millhopper Road, but that's Gainesville. Scoobs, what's the name of that road it's on? McMullen, McMullen Booth Road. That's Scoobs. Scuba Scott is like my Ed McMahon in the studio with me. So I'll be there, Fortifeye Nutrition Center in Clearwater at 1 o'clock today. Once again, phone lines are open. No matter how simple or complicated your questions are, we will try to answer it to the best of our ability. If we don't know the answer, we won't fake it. We will do the research and get back with you. And this is for educational purposes only. This never replaces a medical evaluation or an eye examination. This is not treatment or cures for anything. So the phone lines are 1-877-969-8600, 1-877-969-8600. Dr. Summerton, you got up early this morning and hit the gym, didn't you?
I did. I already got up and I did a nice 50-minute strength class at the gym, and I'm sitting here. I made my Fortifeye protein shake. I chose chocolate flavor today, and I added a little boost of chocolate in my tripeptide collagen with it, and I'm sitting here enjoying it right now as we speak.
Fortifeye Super Protein Dark Chocolate Fudge. Check it out on the website at fortifeye.com. That's FORTIFEYE, fortifeye.com. Also, I'm going to give you the phone number for Fortifeye Vitamins. I'll give it to you twice. Charlene should be there answering the phones this morning. It's 866-503-9746. That's 866-503-9746. Also, the Fortifeye Nutrition Center in Clearwater, remember, I'll be there at 1 o'clock, but the Fortifeye Nutrition Center in Ocala is also called the Lange Nutrition Center, and it's right there on State Road 200, or Southwest College Road, whatever you want to call it. It's my old Lange Eye Care building. It's a 2-story building. Upstairs is the Lange Nutrition Center. You can get all the Fortifeye products. Charlene is there this morning. Also, Mary and Mandy are there during the week. So all of you that are listening in Ocala, so Ocala, Gainesville, the Villages, you're probably listening on the Sky 97.3 FM WSKY, and also Florida Man Radio Network. We're on that. That's 101.1 FM in Ocala. So welcome, Ocala, for the Florida Man Network. We're also on the Florida Man Network in Orlando. That's some new stations. A lot of other new stations in Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, Alexandria, Louisiana, Shreveport, and Philadelphia. Those are some new stations that we announced last week as well. Also, last week, we ran a tape. I was out of town. I'm going to brag a little bit. You know, I entered the whoop competition 2 weeks ago on a Sunday. I'm wearing a whoop band, and what they do, they monitor calories burned, and you compete against, people your own age group or people per city, whatever you want to sign up for. I competed in 6 classes: Ocala, Gainesville, Tampa, 60 plus athletes, 60 to 70 athletes, and doctors only class. I started at 5:30 in the morning and did 2 hours of intense cardio, burned about 1,200 calories the first 2 hours on the Stairmaster and the Octane. And then when it was daylight at 7:30, went out on the bike for 5 hours and biked just about 100 miles, then swam for an hour. And now it's noon. I did another literally 10 hours of cardio nonstop. 7,000 steps on my iWatch. And remember, 6 of that was swimming and biking, so steps wouldn't have been counted. And burned almost 9,000 calories. Long story short, I competed in it twice before and didn't do good the first time. Did pretty good the second time. Well, I won all 6 classes. So at midnight, I was pretty blown away. But I got to tell you, the Fit Pro, the Fortifeye Fit Pro, I drank that 3 times during the competition. I also mixed Rejuvenate and coconut water with it. And during the competition, I was drinking organic coconut water with pink Himalayan sea salt. And I was eating frequently through the competition. So that's a big caveat. A lot of people were falling out at, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Not many people finished until midnight. So I'm tooting my horn a little bit. I won all 6 classes of that. And I competed against people a hell of a lot younger than me. And, I'm 61 years old now. So enough of tooting my horn. We're getting ready to go to the phones here. We got some people on hold. Give us a call at 1-877-969-8600. That's 1-877-969-8600. All right, let's go to, I think it's Yale in Ocala. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hi, how you doing this morning? Good morning.
Good. Fantastic.
My question is for the eye doctor, because, currently I've hit 50. And since then, my reading with my eyesight has gone down quite a bit. And I wanted to know, I hear these things about these drops that people have been using for their eyes in order to bring their vision back to normal. And I wanted to know what would be her opinion of that, and if she really feels that those things work, because I'm very nervous about putting anything near my eyes.
Dr. Summerton.
Hi, good morning. Yes, I think you're talking about the one particular drop that helps your depth of focus. And that's a drop we've used, and it actually changes the size of your pupil. So it takes you from a larger size pupil to a smaller size pupil, which then improves that range that you can bring it into close. I've used it with some patients. We've had some success. A little bit of drawback when you first start using it. We have some few complaints of headaches initially, and it tends to work the best on people who have just great distance vision and they need that improvement to focus up close. Now, what I found, and I personally use, because in that age range as well, I use our supplement Focus that has the lutein and the zeaxanthin in it. Those nutrients go right to the center of the back of your eye, your macula. They're actually stored there. And then we astaxanthin in it, which that's popular for skin, but it also goes to our muscles and does help with that muscle fatigue, especially when you're on the computer all day. That puts a lot more extra strain on those eye muscles. So I would look into the Focus, because that's what I personally take. And then also
Okay.
make sure you're hydrated and take breaks. If you're on the computer, we have that little 20-20 rule where every 20 minutes, you take just a 20-second break to look greater than 20 feet away to give those muscles a little bit of a break.
Okay, well, I work in the OR, so I try to avoid the computer at all costs.
Good. But you're also going to be under all those blue lights all day too. All
Yes.
those
Yes.
fluorescent lights, LED lights, which all that blue light does become tough on the eyes too, because it does make your eyes have to strain harder to see. We miss that red light that's so good for our eyes. So it is good when you get up in the morning, like around, I don't know how early you get up, but just close to the sunrise, the more that nice red light before the UV comes out, that's great for our eyes too. It's same around sunset time too.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks for the call. And talking a little bit more about Fortifeye Focus, we developed that, close to 14 years ago now, and we've revised it 3-4 times since. That's a combination of 3 xanthophylls. Those are carotenoids, lutein, zeaxanthin, and astaxanthin. The lutein and zeaxanthin impregnate into the macula, increase what we call macular pigment density, protecting your eyes from the harmful blue light. And then the astaxanthin in it, the 6 milligrams of atrial astaxanthin, that's the best astaxanthin, improves the accommodative ability, the focusing ability in your eye. This is what gives wild Alaskan salmon its orange color. So most of you guys and gals out there are deficient in astaxanthin because, quite frankly, how often do you eat wild Alaskan salmon? So that's the only food you can consume that really has enough astaxanthin to do anything. So we're the first in the industry to combine all of these carotenoids into one gel cap. And it really does work. Like I said, I'm 61. When I was 48, I needed reading glasses. Now I take 2 a day. All right. And it enables me to focus without reading glasses. I can see 0.37 in print. That's 20/20 basically. And I have just about 20/20 vision in the distance. So we do like the natural way instead of using a drug to accommodate your focusing ability. But remember, it's kind of the double whammy. Not only is it protecting you from the harmful blue light from the digital world we live in, but it's improving focusing ability. That's why we call it Fortifeye Focus. And it does help to reduce accommodative stress. But also, there's some great studies out there showing that these 3 carotenoids cross the blood-retinal barrier and the blood-brain barrier. They're good for cognitive abilities, good for your memory, great for your skin, and also great for endurance, muscle endurance. So that one little pill, I call it an anti-aging pill called Fortifeye Focus. Now, as we mature and get older, sometimes we have a little cognitive decline, AKA things like dementia and Alzheimer's. So can we help that? Well, we tried to help that by adding another nutrient to Fortifeye Focus called cognizine. This is a patented form of acetylcholine, a trademark patented form. And it does help with memory, working memory. It helps with cognitive issues. I've told people now, because it's been out for 2 years, it's called Focus and Brain. And so for those of you that are gamers, we call it Gamer Extreme. So you need to think really quick on your feet. So if you need to think really quick on your feet or think you're having a little memory problem, go to Focus and Brain or Gamer Extreme. They're exactly the same. They just have a different label on it. So now we have Fortifeye Focus, which we recommend, Dr. Summerton and I recommend to just about all of our patients at any age. And then as we get a little bit older or you're in a high stress position where you got to think super quick, then go to Focus and Brain or Gamer Extreme. And check them out on the website at fortifeye.com, FORTIFEYE, fortifeye.com. And I'll give you the phone number for Fortifeye Vitamins, 866-503-9746. That's 866-503-9746. And you can see Dr. Summerton as a patient at the Lange Eye Institute in the Villages, Florida. So that's just a hop, skip, and a jump from wherever you are. And the phone number for the Lange Eye Institute is 352-753-4014. That's 352-753-4014. Remember, we take Medicare, we take most insurances, we take most vision plans at the Lange Eye Institute. And this is a state-of-the-art eye care center, unlike anything in the area. So you'll be in good hands with Dr. Summerton. And of course, I'm there as well. And Dr. Lori Caputi is there as well. Also, we've got an enormous amount of frames, designer frames there, don't we, Dr. Summerton?
We do. I was just there with my husband last night. My husband's looking for some new frames and was really checking out. We got those nice, my favorite from them, those Tom Ford frames that I just think look so classic and so handsome on the men. And it's just, we actually couldn't decide. So we're going to come back on Monday because we have so many choices. And then he's narrowed it down to 4 pairs, a nice little Hugo Boss there as well. And all colors, all shapes, all sizes. Try them on. You got to see what's comfortable on you, and you want to feel good. You wear them every day, and it's like a piece of jewelry, really, for your face. But at the same time, it's functional and comfortable.
Right. And I'm sporting right now on the video a new pair of Maui Jim progressive sunglasses. So this is a progressive, gives me distance vision and near vision if I need it. So it hardly has any power in it. I think I got a quarter diopter of astigmatism in the distance that I gave me a 1 1/4 ad. But I wanted to test it out, and it works really, really good. So we do Maui Jim prescription sunglasses at Lange Institute. Now, here's the kicker. All right. This is an Easter special, and we're going to run it for probably, a few weeks. And we have never done this except at our fall festivals. Since the pandemic, we haven't had a fall festival where we used to give 40% off everything. So we're started this Monday. All right. So Monday, 40% off designer frames. So a Cartier frame. Nobody discounts Cartier, right? Nobody. So if you go down to Miami and want to discount a Cartier frame, they're going to laugh at you. All right. So we're giving you 40% off Gucci frames, all the designer frames, 40% off. So if you've been wanting that Cartier and it's just too expensive, remember, Cartier is very expensive frame. It's the ultimate in designer frames. 40% off. I didn't say 10. I didn't say 15. I didn't say 20. I said 40% off. So you heard it right here on Ask the Doctor. Go in to the Lange Institute in the Villages. Let me tell you, if you're down in South Florida, you're in Atlanta, it's going to be worth the drive to get 40% off. That's a lot. Some of these Cartier frames are thousands of dollars. All right. But if you just want a Gucci frame that's nowhere near that price, you're still getting 40% off the frames, not the lenses, 40% off the frames. So take advantage of that. All right. I think Chris was on hold, got tired of listening to us talk. So call back, Chris. We're opening up the phone lines again right now. Phone lines are open 1-877-969-8600. That's 1-877-969-8600. I want to talk about 3 real quick rapid fire health hacks. So this is interesting. You can learn from this show. Do never eat bananas, pears, and apples with berries. You go, why not? I have fruit salad all the time. I put blueberries and bananas in my smoothie. Scoobs is looking at me really confused right now because he's thinking, geez, I put apples, pears, and berries in my smoothie every morning. All right. So bananas, pears, and apples have something called polyphenol oxidase. All right. And that's an enzyme that causes it to turn black. Remember, any fruit that you cut and it turns dark within 15 minutes or so, that has polyphenol oxidase. So there's other, but the big 3 are banana, pears, and apples. If you eat those with berries, berries are high in flavonoids. Flavonoids are very good for every part of your being. It blocks the absorption of the flavonoids. So I'm not saying don't eat bananas, pears, and apples. Just don't eat them with your berries, okay? Here's another one you don't mix. Beta carotene does not go well with lutein, zeaxanthin, and astaxanthin. So look at your multivitamin. I personally think no multivitamin should have beta carotene in it. All right, period. Our multivitamins do not have any beta carotene in it. So never eat carrots and sweet potatoes with spinach and kale. Dark green leafy vegetables are high in lutein. Orange bell peppers are high in zeaxanthin. Wild Alaskan salmon is high in astaxanthin. So don't eat carrots and sweet potatoes with orange bell peppers, goji berries, spinach, kale, any dark green leafy vegetable, or wild Alaskan salmon, because the beta carotene binds to binding sites on xanthophylls, and therefore it doesn't absorb into the blood. And we were actually, we did a pilot study called the Blaze study. This is 15, 20 years ago when we had our own blood labs upstairs in the Lange Institute. And the Blaze study stood for beta carotene, lutein, alpha carotene, zeaxanthin absorption study. we proved that supplemental beta carotene blocked lutein and zeaxanthin. So we took it all out of our eye vitamins. And then most companies followed. So if you're taking an eye vitamin and it has beta carotene in it, my personal opinion is toss it in the garbage can. All right, here's the last health hack this morning. Stop using mouthwash. Unless you're going on a hot date with somebody, it's your first time, you can use mouthwash then. Because when you use mouthwash, it decreases the oral nitrate producing bacteria in your mouth. And therefore, systemic nitric oxide bioavailability drops, all right? That is the vasodilatory effects of foods that you eat. And it can make your blood pressure go up. And remember, elevated blood pressure is the leading preventable risk factor for premature death and lots of other problems in the eye, believe it or not. Ischemic optic neuropathy, hypertensive retinopathy, branch artery occlusions, branch vein occlusions. So all of you that are using mouthwash all the time thinking it's good for you to decrease this bacteria in your mouth, it's really not that good. And these are interesting health hacks that we tell people about, aren't they, Dr. Summerton?
They are. And, when we kill bacteria, we have to worry about killing both the bad and the good. And we also, when we prescribe antibiotics, just like the mouthwash is killing all the good and the bad, same when we're actually prescribing an antibiotic for a patient who has an infection, we have to be cognizant of the side effects of those. So we also recommend after you take an antibiotic, you then also take a bottle of probiotics to replenish those good bacteria back into you. You can also get yogurt and then the fermented foods, the kimchi, and add those into your diet because it's also the variety of strains you're adding. So a lot of the probiotics you'll see in the stores, if you turn over the label, they only have something like acidophilus written back there. But we need the variety of strains. And how many is there in our probiotics that we have?
Billions and billions and billions. And we also have prebiotics in it. We added a few enzymes, too, to help break down the lipids, the carbs, and the fats. And the prebiotics help actually your probiotics feed. So it's been, I got to tell you, Victoras Kovinkas, the father of the raw food movement and one of the founders of the Hippocrates Institutes, helped us develop our enzymes and our probiotics. And for those of you with any type of digestive issues, go to fortifeye.com and go to the bundle section. And there's a digestive bundle. It has our digestive enzymes and probiotics, discounted dramatically. And I always say take the enzymes right before any cooked meals and take the probiotics on an empty stomach. So at bedtime or first thing in the morning. And for those athletes out there that want to make your protein absorb better, you're drinking a protein shake, you're eating a big protein, high protein meal. If you take enzymes 5 or 10 minutes before that protein shake or that meal, studies indicate it can increase absorption of the protein by 130%. So getting the absorption of those essential amino acids and those branch chain amino acids is crucial. And remember, there's some studies out there that say you can only absorb 8 to 13 grams of protein an hour. So the enzymes will speed that up. So that's a good thing, especially if you're an athlete trying to build muscle and strength. All right, let's see. We're going to open up the phones. 1-877-969-8600, 1-877-969-8600. Give us a call. Consultation is free. One more time, 1-877-969-8600. Remember, I will be, this is Easter weekend. I will be at the Fortifeye Nutrition Center from 1 to 3 today. So come pick my brain on nutrition and the likes. And also remember, you can call right now. And if you want to order one of those bundles or any Fortifeye vitamin, you can certainly go to fortifeye.com or call Charlene's answering the phones at 866-503-9746. That's 866-503-9746. We're getting ready to go to the next call. I see somebody asking me a question. Please explain why my omega-3 fish oil I bought at the drugstore rots through my, I think he says styrofoam cup. That's not how you spell styrofoam. Styrofoam cup I heard you talk about that on the radio, and I tested it. Explain. We'll explain that in just a second. But we got a few people on hold. We're going to go to Steve first, and then we'll take Bob in a minute. Steve, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. I was just thinking of a product. You know how they've taken marijuana and they've genetically developed it to then modern marijuana is much more potent in THC. And then they have cauliflowers that are orange now because they took the gene out of certain carotenoid producing plants and could they genetically engineer like a yogurt or a probiotic and take and insert the astaxanthin genes from algae, and you could have a yogurt that would be that would have an orange color that would be produce its own anthraxanthin, and then you'd have a perpetual supply of anthraxanthin.
Well, I know in Europe, and the trips that when we used to go over to the factory in Aselund, Norway, there is actually yogurt that has astaxanthin in it. It has carotenoids in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's already been done. Now, whether or not they're just taking the already manufactured astaxanthin and putting it in there, if they actually are, growing it in there, that's a good question.
Right.
It's a really good question.
And what would really be interesting is if you could you take the astaxanthin gene and you put it into a E. coli or some natural bacteria that lives in your intestines. Once you got it in there, it could perpetually produce astaxanthin for you for months or years. I mean, yeah, that would be really cool. You ought to get Dr. Hecht on, and although it might ruin their business, I think
in-body astaxanthin generator. Wow.
Yeah, I really think that would be cool, and you literally could do that, and I see no reason. It's certainly biochemically comprehensible.
Well, Steve, I've already thought about this. I'm acquiring some land or purchasing. I shouldn't say acquiring. Purchasing the land over on Lake Weir, and I'm going to make some in-house gardening systems, hydroponic organic gardens, so I can grow my own food. And I was thinking about taking the lutein, zeaxanthin, and astaxanthin and putting it to the water system, and then dripping that into the food, and maybe, I don't know, it should absorb from the roots and possibly making a kale that has super concentrated lutein, more than normal. So,
right.
And we could certainly test that. So in my free time, I'm going to start being mad scientist in my greenhouse.
Well, one thing that you can do is take selenium, inorganic selenium, and grow garlic or broccoli. And that's true. That's something you ought to try too. And it will convert it to organic selenium from inorganic selenium in the garlic, and it's a much more efficient. Once you eat it, it's much more efficient.
So I got a question. I got a question for you. You might know it, Steve, or you might not. We got to go to the next call in a second here. But last night I was making some organic soup. I put everything but the kitchen sink in it. I mean, I put all the vegetables we had in the refrigerator in it. We had a whole bag of garlic. It was almost brand new. And, half the garlic had the little fungus growing on them, mold on them. But the other half looked pretty good to me. My wife was saying, throw it all out. Yeah, I wanted garlic in my new soup. And, I went about to go to the store and Instacart, it was too late at night. So I threw all the bad garlic away. And then I hand-picked the ones that had no mold on it. I soaked them in apple cider vinegar for about 10 minutes. I mean, that might kill something. Then I washed them thoroughly. And then obviously I cooked them in the soup for like 45 minutes. So, and I feel great today. But I don't know if, some of that invisible mold grows into the garlic or not and may cause problems. I don't know if you know that, or Dr. Summerton knows that, or any of the listeners know that.
Well, the chances are no, it won't hurt you. And the fact is, if you take all the bacteria and all the molds and everything that we have in our environment, do you know less than 1/300th of all bacteria are pathogenic?
Huh.
Only one for every 300 species, and there's millions of species. Only 1 out of 300 are pathogenic.
Wow.
Everything else is harmless.
So I was probably getting a little penicillin when you think about it, right?
Right. There you go.
Yep, because that's some of that blue-green mold that grows on garlic. You get penicillin from that. So no wonder I'm killing all the bacteria. I better take some probiotics after eating that. All right, we got to go to the next phone, Bob. Steve.
Okay.
All right. You're listening to Ask the Doctors, Dr. Susan Summerton and myself, Dr. Michael Lange. Let's go to the next call. Bob in Lakewood Ranch, right around the corner up in Sarasota. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, doctor. How are you today?
All right. How you doing?
Good. Well, not bad. Actually, for the first time, I'm approaching 70, and for the first time in my life, I had some blood work done, and the results weren't so great. And among the most alarming thing was protein in the urine. So I guess a twofold question. How did that happen, and what do I do to fix that?
Wow. That's a great question. There's a lot of things that can cause protein in the urine, and I'm not an expert on that. You don't want to have protein spilling over into the urine. So they're going to ultimately, find out the underlying etiology. They're probably going to run, a series of blood tests and probably do some neuroimaging and things of this nature. Do you have any pain in your abdomens at all?
No.
Pain in your lower
Nope.
back?
Well, yes, but I attributed that to some sciatica issues.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And what's your diet consist of typically?
It's fair. I start every morning off. I know you're gonna probably go crazy, but with a bagel, I've done that for 50 years. But after that, dinner I'll have fish, of meat, pasta. The typical stuff.
Right. So take my email. I've actually got some really good sort of holistic approaches to this and natural approaches that I can link you to. It gets kind of complicated, and I don't want to get into any medical terminology right now. But if you go to my email and send me an email after the
Okay.
show, say, Doc, hook me up with all this information, on
Okay.
this protein in the urine. It's iDude92. So
Right.
EYEDUDE92 at iCloud.com. The letter I,
Okay.
cloud.com. And Dr.
Got it.
Summerton, I'll let her chime in a little bit about it too.
Normally, if they find that, they're going to run a little bit more tests on the kidneys because basically your kidneys are what is filtering those waste products. So if you have too much protein, then they're just going to concentrate more testing around that. But a lot depends if you did anything like right before the testing, if you were actually a little bit dehydrated before you got your blood work, that can affect it. If you had a fever,
Right.
or if you've done some strenuous exercise before the blood work, that could affect it too.
Okay.
Right. And
Well,
I was actually a little concerned about that after my big event 2 Sundays ago when I literally exercised for 18 and a half hours. You have to worry about something called rhabdomyosin, and that's, it can shut your kidneys down and it can be very dangerous. So extreme exercise can cause that too. So I don't ever recommend people doing that type of extreme exercise, but I'm very competitive and I had to win it. So I did it. Now I don't have to do it again.
Oh, that's funny.
But still,
Okay.
send me that
send
me that email.
I will. Perfect. Hey, thanks very much. I appreciate it, doctors.
All right, Bob. Take care. You're listening to Ask the Doctors. My co-host, Dr. Susan Summerton, and colleague at the Lange Eye Institute in the Villages, Florida. If you got a question for either one of us regarding your vision, eye care, or a nutritionally related topic, pick up the phones and give us a call at 1-877-969-8600. That's 1-877-969-8600. And we were talking yesterday, Dr. Summerton and I, and we were talking about how Dr. Summerton had mentioned that a lot of our patients just don't understand the power of omega-3 and what the differences are in omega-3 and how omega-3 is so beneficial, even for kids that got progressive myopic changes in their eye. It's pretty interesting science, isn't it, Dr. Summerton?
It is, and we do get that all the time because we get a lot of patients that come in, they're taking their fish oils, but they're not sure about what kind to take, or they've not taking it because they've had stomach upset or they get those fishy burps after. So when we talk about fish oil, the quality matters, and how the fish oil is processed in the lab depends on how you process it. So we're very, very picky about the type of fish oil, and we only recommend the triglyceride form. And that's not like triglycerides in your blood. That's just saying how the molecule is formed with a glycerol backbone. But that's the natural form that's also found in fish. So therefore, you're going to absorb it better. I think you mentioned somebody had a question about the ethyl esters and why it's soaking and making a hole in their styrofoam cup, that's in the ethyl ester form, and that's because it has an ethanol backbone, which then that's what's going to eat through that styrofoam. But also your body has to break that backbone off, and you've got to have like a good pancreatic lipase digestive enzymes to do that. And then you have to convert it to that triglyceride, and most can't do that. So you're taking this fish oil, you're not getting the absorption, and then you're not getting that therapeutic effect that we want. We want it to lower that inflammation all in the body. We use it a lot for dry eye, and we want it to replenish those good fats in those meibomian glands too. So in order for you to get the results that we're trying to accomplish, we need that absorption. We need that good quality in that triglyceride form. And it is so confusing when people go to the stores of knowing what to take. But it really, if it doesn't say TG or triglyceride on it, then more than likely it isn't that form that you want to be taking. And there is a study, I always caution people about taking fish oil, that ethyl ester form has been associated with atrial fibrillation. So we want to stay away from that kind as well and make sure our patients are getting healthier and we're not adding anything that can make things worse. So fish oil is super important. And then briefly, just what we talked about, we're doing helping kids, prevention myopia. That's another supplement that we're adding to that, because there is some studies out there that shows that helps prevent their eyes from becoming more nearsighted. So it's important for kids and adults.
Absolutely. And Fortifeye is, got Fortifeye Super Omega, which is 1,600 milligrams of the reesterified triglyceride form. So it says rTG. So you want it to say either TG form, triglyceride form, or rTG form, reesterified triglyceride form on the bottle. So we have Fortifeye Super Omega and we have Fortifeye Super Omega 3 Max. We have them made in Aselund, Norway, by the best team in the world at EPAX. They know how to develop, concentrate, and purify omega-3 fish oil better than any place in the world. We've looked at the COAs. We've tried to save money and go to some made here in the United States and made elsewhere. And every time I look at the COA, they don't have the purity as the Norwegians. The Norwegians have got it down packed, how to concentrate it and purify it. As a matter of fact, they took us to dinner not too long ago. Dr. Summerton and I, they took us to dinner about a month ago. The Norwegians came in town and said that Dr. Lange Fortifeye Vitamins, the Super Omega 3 Max, is still the most potent reesterified triglyceride form in the United States right now, and by far the best deal. If you look at our price for the Super Omega 3 Max, it's only $35. And there's a way on the website, if you get on the subscription plan, you get 25% off on that. So remember, on any of the Fortifeye vitamins, you can get on the subscription plan and get up to 25% off. And you can read about that. So Super Omega is 1,600 milligrams. Super Omega 3 Max is 2,400 milligrams. We were involved in some pilot studies where we did omega index testing on patients and employees and friends. We did quite a few, and we found out that our Super Omega 3, 100% of the patients that were less than 240 pounds, 100% of the patients that were less than 240 pounds had an omega index between 9.2 and 11% after 2 weeks of taking 2 a day of the Super Omega. And remember, you want to get over that 8% to get the heart health benefits. So Super Omega 3 Max is for people, that are heavier or people that have hypertriglyceridemia or a lot of inflammation in their body. We're getting ready to go to call in just a second. So Pat and Shreveport, stay tuned. Don't go away. I'm getting to you in 1 second here. There is a study, a very recent study with 26,000 people in it over 5 years. And it's an ongoing study called the VITAL study. This is one of the most recent best studies proving that omega-3 supplements, and I think they use between 800 and 1,000 milligrams a day, for major cardiovascular events were reduced by 26% in African Americans, by 26% in diabetics, by 17% in people that had a history of heart disease, 19% reduction if they had 2 or more risk factors for heart disease,
and 19% risk reduction in major cardiovascular events if they have a low fish intake. So most of us don't eat that much fish. So you can reduce major cardiovascular event by 19%. In other words, omega-3 supplements, decrease your risk of heart disease. And here, now let's talk about a heart attack. Heart attacks were reduced by 28% in the general population and 70% in the African American population. Death by heart attack was reduced by 50%. Total coronary disease reduced by 17%, and reduction in autoimmune diseases also from taking omega-3 supplements. Like Dr. Summerton mentioned, all omega-3 is not created equal. So there's a few good brands out there. Make sure they're a product of Norway. Fortifeye Super Omega 3 and Fortifeye Super Omega 3 Max are the least expensive that has the highest potency and purity. I can guarantee that, all right? We're a small enough company where we can undercut the competition. There's some other great companies out there, but they are much more expensive and not as potent as ours. All right, that's enough of that. We're going back to the phones. Let's go to Pat in Shreveport, Louisiana. That's kind of near my old stomping grounds. I grew up in New Orleans.
Wow. Great. Are you there?
I'm here. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning. I am 74 years old. I became severely allergic to dust and carpet in the last 3 years. They drill some gas wells across from my house, and there was so much dust coming that it attacked my immune system. So now I have to wear a mask all the time because dust gets in my throat. It's attracted to my eyes, my throat, my nose, my ears. And so I have to wear a mask because this dust gets in my body. And I had one doctor here say he's only seen one other patient like this. So I don't know. I have severe glaucoma, so it hurts my eyes. I use Pataday for my eyes. But I've been taking shots for 13 months, and I can't see where the shots are helping me. And I do have some.
Pat, you know what time it is? It's time to move. It's time to get the heck out of Dodge. You should.
Well, no matter where I go, the dust is bad now.
Well, yeah, you need to.
I moved to an apartment, and
right.
the dust and the parking lot affected me.
You need to do a little controlled study. So Shreveport isn't that far from the Gulf Coast. I mean, it's a little bit of a hike, but go down to like Gulf Shores, Alabama. That's not too far away. Orange Beach, and rent a house near the beach and see if you don't feel better. Because if you get away from all of the the pollen and the dust, and go to the beach and hang out for a week and see if your symptoms don't go away. If they go away, then we know it's environmental, and then maybe you make a move and it will improve your quality of life dramatically. So that's something I would at least try getting out. If you go to a beach, there's not a lot of pollen and stuff and dust and dander and trees near the beach. So that's a good way you can test it. The closer to the beach, the better. Also, now if you have advanced glaucoma, you need to be taking your drops per the instructions of your doctor. Okay.
I am.
And then a little cardiovascular exercise, getting out and walking, very good for glaucoma. Weight management. So for those of you that might be a little overweight, we always got to try to lose a little weight. So 10% weight reduction if you're overweight can reduce the chance of atrial fibrillation in your heart by 600%, but it also helps bring down intraocular pressure in your eye. That's why we always talk about weight management. And then there's some studies that indicate, believe it or not, the omega-3 is very good for glaucoma. It has some neuroprotective properties. It actually helps improve circulation, can lower pressure in your eye a little bit. But we developed a product, I don't know how long you've been listening to us, called Fortifeye Eye Pressure and Neurocognitive Support. I'll repeat that. Fortifeye Eye Pressure and Neurocognitive Support. This is a combination of bilberry pine bark extract and Numentix, a spearmint extract. And we've seen patients' pressure come down dramatically, but more importantly, it has neuroprotection to the ganglion cells in your optic nerve. This is something you may want to consider adding to your regimen. Do not stop what your doctor told you to do. Continue the treatments, but you can add this as one little pill a day. It's not a cure. It's not a treatment. But remember, God made a pretty good body if we give it the right fuel. And I think this is the fuel that all glaucoma patients need. Dr. Summerton, do you want to chime in a little bit on all of this that's going on with her?
Look, I am visually impaired, so
Right.
after you hang up for me, is there anyone can take my address and send me this information because I can't see how to write?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything?
So what we can do, Ryan will put you on hold in a second and just get your information in just a second. And then, or better yet, he can even get your phone number and then I can call you after the show on my drive back to my house. How's that sound?
Okay, that
Yeah.
sounds good. I was a physical fitness therapist, so I have a treadmill and all of that. I weigh about 140,
Right.
and so yeah, I admit I need to get out this environment, but trying to find a house to buy that doesn't have bricks on it because
Right.
the dust from the bricks affect me, and so I have to try to find a house that has wood floors.
Sure.
And when you go to the apartments, I'm allergic to carpet now. All this started together. And so I'm having a hard time really finding a place to stay
Right.
that doesn't have carpet or doesn't have, even my sheetrock in my house started to crumbling because of the vibration from these wells.
Right. So Pat,
So-
I'm gonna he'll put you on hold. He'll get your phone number. I'm gonna call him. We're gonna have a nice conversation after the show. Okay. So answer the phone. You're gonna see an area
Okay.
code 352 is gonna show up. Area code 352. That'll be me calling. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
God bless.
Pat. And I think we're gonna go to the next call. Let's go to Rosemary in Bradenton. All right, Rosemary. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thank you. I'm being treated for RVO, retina vein occlusion, and I'm receiving injections to my eye once every 4 weeks.
Right.
And I guess my question is that it doesn't sound like the actual clogged vessel can ever be corrected. It's more that these shots that I'm receiving are to get the inflammation down to clear up the blurriness that it causes.
Right.
Is there
So
anything
did you
else
have a
I can be
vein
doing?
occlusion or an artery occlusion? Do you know? It sounds like a vein occlusion.
It's a vein occlusion.
Right. So a branch vein occlusion causes a blood vessel to burst and it causes edema or swelling of your retina. Okay. And that swelling in your retina, they use injectables that have anti-VEGF activity. And these injections will cause the swelling to go down and help reduce the chance of you developing what we call neovascularization. These are irregular blood vessels that are growing in your eye, which are very, very bad. So the injections are really the best line of a defense that we have right now. But more importantly, you have to find out the underlying etiology, what caused it. Okay. And
Yes.
with that, Rosemary, maybe you can call back next week and we can go on this in a little more detail because we're running out of time. And I know Scott in Mississippi's on hold too. So Rosemary,
Okay, wonderful.
tune in again next week.
Thank
All
you.
right. And we'll expand on this.
Will do. Thank you so much.
All right. I don't know if we have time for Scott. How much time do we have in there, Ryan? We got another minute. We got 30 seconds. We could get, no, we don't have time for Scott. I don't hear the music. But Dr. Summerton, you better tell everybody goodbye while you got a chance.
God bless everybody. Happy Easter. Go out there. Have a joyous, healthy one.
Yeah, great. And then I think we've got, now we've got a minute left. Now I'm looking at the countdown, 58 seconds. So we didn't have time. We might have had time for Mississippi Man. Mississippi Man, we have to call him next week. So I want to thank everybody for tuning and listening to Dr. Summerton and myself, Dr. Lange. Remember, I'll be at the Fortifeye Nutrition Center today at 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So come out and view us, see me and view me. And then Dr. Summerton and I available along with Dr. Caputi at the Lange Eye Institute in the Villages, Florida. You can call the Lange Eye Institute at 352-753-4014 for an eye exam where we also enlighten you about the latest in nutrition. And remember to check everything out on the website at Fortifeye fortifeye.com. Fortifeye, fortifeye.com. Once again, thanks for tuning in, listening to Ask the Doctor. We're out of here. Have a great day. God bless you, and God bless America.